Manchester United are back again. I feel on a long run, Manchester United will be back, with the Manchester United that we know. Big clubs, what helps big clubs to succeed, what helps big clubs to be relevant is their football heads, those that has football heads that are at the helm of affairs, and which that is one of the things that have affected Manchester United in the past couple of years. Manchester United used to have that dominance, that continuity, under David Gill, under the leadership of David Gill, former Manchester United chairman. When David Gill left, he handed over to Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward, a couple of years, if you remember the years Manchester United we are failing, it was under Ed Woodward. Manchester United failed, under Ed Woodward. Everything decayed under Ed Woodward. But now, Manchester United have a good CEO, in the person of Omar Breda. Omar Breda is a kind of a CEO that has football heads, just like appointing a farmer to be the Minister of Agriculture. You are going to get the result. That is what Omar Breda is. That is who Omar Breda is. Omar Breda, remember, he's coming from Manchester City, and that's why I laugh at people when people say that Manchester City are going to fail when Pep Guardiola leaves. See, for people that doesn't really know, Pep Guardiola is not really the main man. I know he's the main man. Everything is actually centered around him, but he's not. There are factors that makes it possible for Pep Guardiola to succeed at Manchester City. There are factors that have made it possible. It's not just Pep. There are people, when you have football heads at the helm of affairs, people that have football structure, when they have a working blueprint, they will set down a blueprint that works for the club. When the hierarchy knows the manager in and out, when the hierarchy, are in tandem with the manager, that manager will succeed. That is why Pep Guardiola have succeeded at Manchester City, and even the next manager will succeed because City have already laid down a blueprint, that will work. They have football heads, people that are in tandem with the manager, that have set the structure, of the manager, of how the club will play. This is how we are going to play, and we are not going to move away from this. That is where Omar Breda is coming from. At Manchester City, they have a CEO that has football heads. Remember, they have a CEO that came from Barcelona, and Barcelona have remained relevant in the past couple of years, all thanks to the same structure. They have a CEO in Ferran Soriano. Ferran Soriano is a good football CEO. He's a good football head, and their former sporting director, Tiki Begristein, as well. These were people that came together and worked for Manchester City. Omar Breda was part of them as well. So United, we are beginning to see the signs. He's beginning to put in the structure, lay down the structure of things to work at Manchester United. These football heads are intentional with the kind of managers they appoint. They are intentional with the kind of players they buy. They don't just go to the market and buy anybody. They already know the structure and the blueprint laid down for the club. So they go to the market and they'll buy those players that fit into the philosophy of the manager. They've sat with the manager and laid out a philosophy. It's not, you're working as a manager, I'm just in my office, they do my thing. No, it's not that kind of football, hierarchy. This kind of hierarchies are the kind of hierarchies that will sit with the manager and lay down a blueprint. This is what is happening at Manchester United currently. So you're beginning to see the result. United finally have a hierarchy that knows football very well. They have a hierarchy that knows football, and it's going to happen. It's going to help Manchester United. We are beginning to see the result, and it's not this kind of hierarchy. It's not a kind of hierarchy of hiring and firing. I know it works for some clubs. It has worked for Real Madrid. It has worked for Chelsea. But this kind of hierarchy is a hierarchy that will build a football structure that will dominate for years. They will build a football structure that will dominate for years. That is why Manchester City are dominating. The owner of Manchester City, Sheikh Mansour, he doesn't know football. What he did, he actually brought football heads together. Please help me and manage this thing. I know you know it. And they've been managing it very well. So when Pep Guardiola leaves, I'm using Manchester City as an instance to what is going to happen at Manchester United. When Pep Guardiola leaves, Manchester City are going to appoint a manager that plays that is similar to that kind of pattern of play. Manchester City have now established a pattern of play. That is what Manchester United are doing right now. With Ruben Amorim, with Omar Breda at the helm of affairs. Ruben Amorim and Omar Breda are working in tandem with the rest of the hierarchy, with the rest of the board. They are working in tandem to see the kind of players. If you watch this summer, the kind of players Manchester United are buying, they are intentional. They're intentional with the kind of players they are buying. And United are going to succeed. So watch out for how United are going to gradually come back to that Manchester United that we know. All right. I'm going to do a part two of this video, but I'll just kind of lay down what is going to happen, give you a snippet of what is likely to happen at Manchester United.